Okay, welcome back, everyone. The main event is in the house. Here is our. Oh, Jen's arrived. Here comes the main event. Um, I just want to introduce people who haven't already met Godel to Godel, to one of the
Yeah,
most wonderful men you could meet. And we spoke to Godel, it was a couple of weeks ago now, and we're having a conversation about potential work out in New Zealand. Godel is now in New Zealand, but we first met Godel in Johannesburg, South Africa, when Jen and I were invited to do some work at Godel's charity, which is Redeeming Hope for the Disabled, which is based on the outskirts of Soweto, in just outside of Soweto in Johannesburg. And Godel, I'd like it if possible if we could talk a little bit about your experience um, and then if we could go into when you came across the principles, and then we'd love to hear. Hopefully, we've got you till about 9 o'clock. And then we'd love to hear about, we'd love to just hear you talk. What is this magic that you found in your life? Because we know you found a magic, and we'd love for you to talk about that. But briefly, beforehand, could you please just give people a little bit of background about your history? Would that be possible?
thank you, Dave, and evening to everyone. It's I can say good morning to myself here because it's morning in New Zealand. It's 8:30. So my name is Godel, as Dave just said it. My name is Godel, and so actually my story is big. It's a long story, and I would love to cut it short and focus more on the way I found my freedom. But before this, let me tell you a little bit of my story. So, Godel. So I'm born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is in Central Africa. So from a traditional kingdom family back there. So and grow up there. I studied in a monastery, my secondary school, and I had this kind of call, like I wanted to become a Roman Catholic priest. And then I went to the Grand Seminaire, as we call it, which is the university where people learn to become Roman Catholic priests. So I went there. I spent my first 3 years there and graduated in philosophy. And then I was sent to do theology for that. And I did my theology in Bukavu, which is in the eastern part of Congo. Um, I think you are hearing what is happening in Congo right now, in Goma, and am exactly from Goma. So I was going from Goma and go to study in Bukavu. So and then I completed my theological studies, and after that, I had to wait to be ordained diakonos, and then a Roman Catholic priest. So I had only 1 year to wait and be ordained now Roman Catholic priest. And then something happened that changed my life. I was playing soccer, I was playing football, and then I fell down and became physically disabled. So as I'm talking to you now, I'm a wheelchair user. I'm a physically disabled man, and it started there. So with the logic of the Roman Catholic um, priesthood, it was impossible to become a priest as I was already physically disabled. And this is based, so it has some biblical background. I think it's Leviticus 21, somewhere there, where it said that a crippled should not serve the hotel of the Holy One. So then that was the end of my dream. That was the end of the dream of becoming a Roman Catholic priest. So, and this passage, so sorry, I'm a French speaker, so but so this passage of the Holy Bible, it's also backed up by the Roman Catholic law that we call canonic law. To say that when you're crippled, you can no longer become a Roman Catholic priest. And then I had to take it like each one. Then I left. I left the priesthood and I had to make a life with within my disability. So I started serving as a journalist in Goma, my place. Started serving there as a journalist for a radio called Liberté, Radio Liberté. But things didn't work well because of all the politics back in my country. So I had to leave. And I left the country. I had to flee to South Africa, where I spent 18 years as a refugee. So when I arrived in South Africa, then I had to be confronted, if I may say, to a new reality there, which is called xenophobia. And I remember it was 11 of May 2008 that I was about to be burned alive in a house where I was renting. I was about to be burnt alive, but I got saved by the police. If I could have more time to tell you this, I will. I will. So it was really a horrific story, a horrific story. And then years later, after going through all these situations, there is a time that I even thought of just killing myself. So I thought of suicide. This is the time exactly. I remember it was in 2018 that we came to meet with Dave and Jen in Johannesburg. That the time that I came to experience freedom thinking. That it was my first experience of freedom thinking, my first experience, my first connection with the three principles, which changed my life forever and made me become the man I am today, the man that is able to perform miracles. If you want to, if I am in New Zealand today, it's one of the miracles that have been performed by the power of fear, of the thought. How, by using the power of my thoughts, I can change my reality, I can change my life. And that was just happening. And it happened. And here I am, and I keep doing what I have to do to make my life just the way I want to see it. So I'll stop there, my story, but now I want to tell you now um, how exactly I found my freedom. Because that I think I wanted to focus more on. If there is any question about my background, my life, I'll be here. So I can I can tell you more about the story. So how did I find my freedom, my peace? So this experience happened exactly after meeting Jen and Dave, when I came to realize the importance of changing my relationship with with God. So all is around the relationship with God, my God. So this is me, a guy who grew up in institutions, seminary, where I've been told about God, a God that is in heaven, right? God who is in heaven, God who's far from human being, God, so the essence that you cannot describe is just something else, something that we cannot connect with, really. So it's so far that we cannot even imagine of how that essence is and how it operates, all these things. So I grew up in this institution, and in a way, I had to be fearful. I had to fear that God. I have to fear that reality, that essence. But now, here is me again, a guy who was angry at that very same reality that is called God. Mostly where I have to think of why should it be me who, just at the end of my training, my university studies, where I wanted really to become a Roman Catholic priest, then I will come disabled. Why me? Why that experience? So I was angry at God, at that essence who really allow me, only me, to go through this kind of experience. Angry at that reality that will make me come to South Africa to experience xenophobia at a point where I was about to lose my life. So why me? And what is this kind of God? Who is this? What? Why really? So what is this reality who will just make me suffer so much? So I was there. But now, when we met with Dave and Jen, so this was really amazing. When they were talking, he was just talking. He was talking to us as a group of refugees. My guys there, all of us, we were there. And then he said, but do you know that that higher power that you guys, that us human, are looking for, that reality is within us, that it is there within us. And we just have to go in and find those answers to our questions. So, and that transformed everything. Everything changed everything for me. Just realizing that the God that I was looking for, all those answers that I'm looking for, they are within me. So to say, in a way or another, I am that kind of reality. I am somehow God. I am the person who creates, and I can really and truly create because it's a matter of changing my consciousness, changing my thought, and I can't change my reality. Just a matter of changing there, and I change my reality. And these, my brothers and sisters, made me starting to create, to make miracles, so to perform miracles. And as Dave told you, everything changed to a point that all the challenges that I was going through, for me, the way that I changed my mind, it was all the challenges were becoming now opportunities for me. So I started seeing things completely differently, that my disability was an opportunity to be on service to other people who looked like me, that I was on a mission with this life, that xenophobia was exactly another mission for me of being on mission, assisting those that look like me and who don't have a place, for example, of safety. And I had to be that person to provide that safety for those people. So by changing my mind, changing my thought, changing consciousness, everything just changed. And frankly, I never lost that happiness that I had from that day. And realizing exactly that, man, I am on a mission. I am a happy man. I am a free man. I am somehow the creator. I'm God. I can create my life. Whatever I will put there. And if I hold or not on it, it will just happen. And that's how I am in New Zealand today, because I have two children that I knew that leaving them in South Africa, for example, there is no future. I had to hold there an idea that I need a place of safety and I will have this. And I started even thinking, imagining, seeing it in a way that it didn't take 2 years and I was exactly at that place. So I create my life. I became a kind of God for myself. I create my future. So this is the experience that I wanted to share with you. And I would love to have maybe some question of clarity and maybe to tell you more about this piece or this piece, but I want to leave it to you, men and women, sisters and brothers. Um, just to have your comment or questions. Then we can yeah, we can continue.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. So actually, I didn't talk about what I'm busy with now in New Zealand. It's something that I would love to speak about maybe later,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as
We
I will
will.
be ending
We will.
the
We're,
question.
we're gonna we're gonna come to that, man. You're gonna get time for that. Don't you worry. Um, I mean, yeah, we're good. We're good now. You're gonna have time for all that. I just wanted to. I just wanted to go back to a point where I mean we had the privilege of meeting you, and we had the privilege of Jen spoke about this yesterday. In fact, we had the privilege of meeting the people that you housed. We got to see what you created, and one of the things that struck us more than anything else was the compassion and love that the people that you housed held for one another. Each of them came from a different background, different country. Some could read and write and some couldn't. Some were some were physically more capable than others. But we couldn't help but notice the love that kind of that this there was a love, there was a presence of love within that community. And you saw there was no hierarchy. There was just a presence of love within this community, and it created this cohesion, and everybody shared everything. And I don't really know what my question is, to be honest, but could you talk a little bit is there anything you could talk to about that, Godel? Because Jenny and I, we've traveled a lot. We've met a lot of people. But that was one of the standout things that we noticed about the people that were at Redeeming Hope for the Disabled. Was was this cohesion and love that kind of bound the people. Is there anything you could speak to with that? Because it was just a standout thing for Jen and I. It was something we really noticed. I'm sorry, my question's terrible.
Right, right. So that's about redeeming hope. So exactly, redeeming hope for the disabled is the organization that I created in South Africa, and that was exactly a response to the reality of xenophobia in South Africa, um, but also a response to my disability, the reality of my disability. So all together was now put into an organization. Disability in a way that I was mostly dealing with refugees living with disabilities. And xenophobia in a way that we did create a sanctuary, a house where whenever xenophobia occur in South Africa, people who look like me will run for, so they will come there and they will find a place of safety because the police knew about the place. The United Nations, UNCR knew about the place. So all the security system around knew about the place. So, and then when the people will come there, they won't just come and stay like sleeping, waking up, and no. The people will be involved in some basic activities that will make them like, so you become you can say important for yourself. Util for yourself, but also for the community. Where when you finish your passage there, where you will go after the passage by redeeming hope. So we were providing like sewing, we were providing courses, and also we were, even though you are in a wheelchair, we were making sure that you learn how to use a piece of land because that's the very basic for your survival. So you have to learn how to use that piece of land. You put your plant there and you water it and make sure that you see the fruit of that thing on survival. So we were teaching people to be able to manage their lives when they leave our care. So, and then people understood that this is what we want for our future. This is exactly what can make us live and survive after this experience of the shelter here. So in that way, you met people that they were happy because they understood exactly that this is what I need, this is what I want for my own future. So that's the climate, if I can say, that is always in that shelter. People are happy. They are happy because they are given really the care that they really need for their own future. It's all about preparing the future of those who are in disability. Because, we have to understand that disability is not the end of life. It might be the starting of a life as I saw it myself, and I used to teach those guys. Your disability might be the starting of your life because that is my reality. So that's the thing that you met there, Dave. That's why you saw those people the way they were. And that's the way they keep being as I left South Africa because I left other people in care and I'm still in control at some level because I keep having meetings with the management, so the guys that are there. So yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was amazing. It really, really was amazing.
I was going to ask, I can't remember when, if it was on our last retreat or it was maybe at the conference. There's this, or it could have been Facebook. You spoke about your experience when you'd finally got the savings together and you were going to go back to the Congo to kind of honor your
Yeah.
parents,
To your parents' grave.
um, and the experience that you had and the learning that happened
Oh yes.
through all of that. And I just remember just sitting there being blown away by it. So I don't know, if that resonates with you to speak about, I'd love you to share. But I know if there's something that you'd really like to talk about, then speak to that.
Sorry, I didn't get. So what about my parents?
It was when you had a problem with the flight. But it was really what you spoke about afterwards, what occurred to you afterwards. It was something that just touched Jen and I when we read it. I think you put it out on Facebook or something. And but you struggled. Did they wouldn't give you access onto the plane or something when you were going? Could you speak a little bit about that? And there was something that there was some you gained insight from it, and I loved what you posted because so many people would have just lived in the resentment of the flight company, the flight provider, the airline, but you didn't. You you realized something really beautiful about it. I can't remember that point, exactly what that was, but I remember reading it, going, "Good lad,
So,
good lad."
all right. So yeah, yeah. No, I remember now. So yeah. So I supposed to fly home, and then I was refused actually after paying everything. After paying everything, and then I went so I was in the airport, and then just an officer came and said, "No, you won't travel. We cannot take you with the wheelchair. We cannot take you with the wheelchair." Yeah, and the first thing for a human being, you feel like, okay, what's happening here? What's happening? Why? Why I shouldn't be taken? Just because of the wheelchair. Then I'm not taken. And then I said, all right, so what will happen now is I had to understand that as a, so this was really a challenge, actually. It was a challenge for me. So because of my wheelchair, I won't be taken in that flight where I had to go home and visit the grave of my father and my mother. That was exactly why I wanted to go home after so many years. Then I have to be refused to take that flight. So that was a challenge. But as I said, I've learned to take my challenge and convert them into opportunities. So for me, which opportunity did I see there? It was exactly an opportunity to advocate for the lives of other people with disabilities, because that was me, but it was happening for millions of other people with disability in the world. So I had to put a word out there and tell the story of what is happening in the world of people with disabilities. So I was just like given an opportunity to be the voice of those who don't have a voice. And that's how I took that opportunity. And I put my voice out there, and it even reached the boss of that company, which is Ethiopian Airlines. I had many messages from the Ethiopian Airlines. They did apologize, but for me, the message was out. And I think from that, maybe they will be so they started taking people with disability differently. So I was just on a mission. And that's the way that I took that reality. I missed go home. I missed going to see the grave of my parent, but I was on a mission. So,
Beautiful, buddy. One of the things we've been speaking about a lot over this last couple of days is, I don't know, it strikes us with our work a lot of the time that, as I would describe it, people are looking for an anesthetic to life. You know, they're trying to find something that is going to it's going to make life kind of put them in the easy lane. And when you're in the easy lane, you know, nothing bad's going to happen. You're just going to cruise through life and it's going to be plain sailing and nice, soft, calm waters all the way. And we've been speaking about how that's not how life works. You are a gentleman who sits in front of us, who faces a challenge every single day, and that's just to get around. You know, I'm guessing every single day you leave the house, you will find a challenge. How am I going to get into this place, or how am I going to get to that place? How am I going to get from a vehicle into the chair? I'm sure you've got it down to a T now, but you know, each time it's a challenge. But I love this point, and I'm quoting you exactly what you said. I learned to take my challenges and turn them into opportunities. Could you speak a little bit more to that, please?
yeah, thank you, Dave. Yeah, man. But before that, I want us to know that, man, sometimes people don't know this, that we are all on a mission with our lives. All of us are on a mission with our lives. All of us. We need to believe in that. You have a mission with your life. And bigger challenges means bigger opportunity. Bigger challenges mean bigger opportunity. There isn't really a challenge. There isn't. there is an opportunity to connect to your true mission, to why you are who you are, where you are. That's how I understood my life. And that's how I do understand the lives of all of us. Dave, I don't know if I have better way of putting this as an answer to your question, but this is exactly what I can tell you, my friend. That's what I'm telling you.
Love it. Thank you, mate. Anything you want to say?
I'd love it if other people had any questions to give.
Yeah.
Has anyone got anything they'd love to ask Godel to speak more about, or?
I'll ask a quick question. So it's a very interesting and positive story. Appreciate you sharing it. Um, how do you how have you kept that sort of um how have you kept that sort of like spirit alight between like for that long, like that sort of like positive outlook? Like, is there something that you like go back to think, do you know what this is like? Is there something that you go back to remind yourself to keep like a positive outlook in life or anything like that? What's the like? Do you have something that you go to for reassurance or anything like that?
Sorry, then I don't understand very well the question. Sorry, if you can
Oh,
just
that's all right.
repeat it in another way.
Um, from what you've from being around like the three principles, is there something that you go back to that I'm just trying to think how to say it. Like, is there something that you always sort of go back to in your mind to keep the positivity um na in the now, if that makes sense? I don't know if anybody else
All
knows what
right,
I'm
so
trying to.
then, thank you, man. So this is what I understand. But if I'm not answering the question, you can ask it the other way. So,
Yeah.
um, mind conscientiousness thought for me, I can say just a way of life, brother. Just a way of life. It 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 when I understand the way the mind works, I will always refer myself to that because I know that there is a secret there for my life. There is a secret there for my life because if I have to perform miracle in my life, okay, and this is just the way of life, brother. People may think that no, man, it just all right. You may say, okay, now I want to change, for example, I want to change my car. I want to drive this car, for example, this specific kind of car. The more you think about it, the more you specific about it, the more you inform your conscious, your mind about it, the more exactly you bring that to reality. Okay, so It's just a way of life. We live like that. Because if you want to see a snake, eh, the more I stick on it in my mind, exactly, it will happen that because I'm setting it on my way. Okay? So mind consciousness, thought, it just, the more I'm thinking about something, the more I put it there hard in my day, exactly I'm making it existing in my life, and it will be a reality for me. It will happen. I'll definitely see it. Okay? So I can just give you a couple of examples, my brother. The way that I've been creating my life, but someone can say that, okay, this guy maybe he became a, in South Africa, they can say he was Sangoma, for example. So Dave and Jen left. And the way I understood the principle for me, and one day I said it, there is even a video when I said that I become a creator of my own life. I can create my life, really. I can do that. So when Dave Jen came, I wasn't driving South Africa. I wasn't. And it's not something that is easy for refugees in South Africa with all the challenge that we're living. Put on that my disability, my physical disability, because I cannot really use my two legs. But brother, I did stick in my mind this idea of having a beautiful car, and I want to see that. I was even putting it in you enter in my room, you see the thing, the picture of the car that I want. Exactly. I had to drive a Mercedes Benz, right? And it is in South Africa. I left it in South Africa at my shelter. A Mercedes Benz, brother. It's there. I created that. A refugee with disability who did it. I did it. I wanted to move for the future of my children and go to a place of safety. Here I am in New Zealand, right? Arriving here, I faced some challenges because I had to start life from zero as a refugee. Yeah? But I am driving a beautiful car in New Zealand right now. It is outside there. A nice Toyota Touring, a beautiful one, brother, with everything inside for a physically challenged man. The creation of my thought. So that's how powerful it is when you understand mind, conscious, thought, how it works. So you change your thought, you change your life. Change your consciousness, you change your life. That's the secret. So that's how it is, my brother. And life is there. So it's something that I refer to. I refer to that all the time, because I understand how it works. That's all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Perfect answer. Thank you, Godel.
I think I think one of the things that came to me, Godel, just before was one, you were always destined in this lifetime to speak the word of God. It didn't quite take the form what you first went down a very kind of well-trodden path and assumed that was the only route. But now we hear you speak, and we know fine well you are speaking the word of God. You're explaining to people how life works. And what was I going to say? And I think what you have discovered now, and I remember this moment when we interviewed you. Two parts of that interview I distinctly remember. You said, "This is how we change the world." And I said, do you think is it really that easy, Godel? And you said these words. I don't even know if you remember saying it. It was beautiful. And apparently it's been shared numerous times in all parts of the world, that interview. You said, I really don't think it's that difficult to change the world. All we need to do is change the consciousness of mankind and the world will change. Now, that's a powerful statement. It's an incredibly true statement. And the other thing I always remember you saying is, as you just described, I believed that this God was far away from me, and you said he was watching me somehow. He was watching me and checking my every move. And you said, but then I realized somehow, I am that God that I feared. Then you followed it up with these words, I am now at peace. It seems to me like there is this, when there is this reconnection, which the separation never took place in the first place, but when there is this rediscovery of the nature of who and what we are, there is this peace that just envelops a human being. They may have their ups and downs, whereby they can't get on an aeroplane and they're pissed off about it. But then there is this, all right, what can I do here? What opportunity am I being presented with? There's the up. It's not about life, it's not about stopping life from happening. And I often say this isn't an anesthetic to life, and there isn't an anesthetic to life. And if there was an anesthetic to life, you truly wouldn't want to take it. You may want to take it for a week or so, but you'd pretty quickly go, do you know what? I'm sick of this easy ride. I want to get back to the unknown. I want to get back to that mystery, the oh, what's going to happen next game of life. But it strikes me that at one point you thought you had faith in your life. You would said, you have faith. I have faith. I have faith. And you would given that faith Roman Catholic Church or God. I hear you now speaking, and I know you have faith. Could you talk a bit about your faith that you have? Because I think faith's a really important thing to discover. It's not a wishy-washy, oh, that's a nice belief thing. Faith, I want to hear what you have to say about faith, Godel.
Um, you know, Dev, I believe in God, all right? I believe in God, but I do believe, frankly, in the God that I have inside me. I believe in me. I believe in God. Um, why? Because with this study of the three principles, I also came to realize that there are things that we don't understand as Christians. The Bible is clear. The Bible is clear. You just need to really understand it. Um, the Bible speaks about Jesus Christ. And what's the name of that Jesus Christ when he was born? He's called Emmanuel. Emmanuel, which is the Prince of Peace, right? And Emmanuel means God within us, isn't it? That's Emmanuel, okay? So we have been promised a God by the prophet Isaiah and many other prophets who said exactly that one day someone will come and his name will be this and this and this. He will be Prince of Peace. And then we were given the name that he is Emmanuel. So will I ever doubt that God doesn't live out there if he is really Emmanuel, but that God lives within me? So it's true. If God is Emmanuel, then God lives, dwells here in me. And when I understand that, then I am at peace. Why? Because he's the Prince of Peace. Emmanuel, the Prince of Peace in Isaiah. Right? So God dwells in me. and, and then I am at peace automatically when I connect with that. And imagine I had to go through all these studies, philosophy, theology, all that. But I only came to realize this through the studies of three principles. Okay? A theologian like me, 3 years of theology in university, but only later, only in 2018, that I come to realize exactly what the Bible says. All right. So, yeah, man, I have faith. I have faith, but I must tell you that I do really believe in me. And the more I believe in me, exactly, I'm able to perform miracles. But when I keep believing in a reality outside there, ignoring who I really am, what the Bible told me about myself, and then I just struggle. I live life without living life because I don't understand that I am the power. I've been given the power that even Jesus Christ in John 17 said that I'm leaving you the power of doing even what I've been not able to perform in this world. You will do it if you believe. And then we believe. So I have faith. I have faith, my brother.
I
I
know
do
you.
have faith.
I know you do. And I love it. I love it. I love what you just picked up on something you said. Because you were who explained the definition of Emmanuel to me. You explained that to me. I remember when I used to go to church and used to sing in the choir, we used to sing about Emmanuel. But it's interesting, my sister who's on the on this call here, she would often say, we speak a language we don't understand. You know, we say words. I sung the word Emmanuel countless times. I had no idea the etymology, the essence or the meaning of that word. It was just a name. But to realize that throughout time, people like Jesus Christ, like the Buddha, like Krishna, whoever, they discovered something about life and they tried their best to pass it on to people. But what the best that they had was language. And in over the thousands of years, these words have just lost their meaning. They've just become words that we say. But the word carries so much information in it. Information, just that word, information. What is information? The creation of form from within ourself. Information, thoughts. Even that word, you break it down and you realize the magnitude of the language we're actually speaking. There is clues hidden within our language. But like Jesus said, for those who have ears to hear, let them hear. You know, it seems like we have to realize a certain level of consciousness before this starts to make sense. Otherwise, it just sounds like noise. It just sounds like everyday blindness, effectively. But what you said there was, of course, I'm going effectively, I'm paraphrasing the first bit, but of course, I'm going to find peace when I connect with that. Emmanuel, the God within, the Prince of Peace, lies within. If I connect with that, of course I'm going to find peace. Of course I'm going to live in peace. I thought that was beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that. So bear with me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Kate, you've got a question. We know that because you've texted us. Kate's got a question for you, Godel.
I don't know if it's a question or something she'd
Or
like to say.
something.
Something she'd like to say.
Something she'd like to say to you. Whatever. Go, Kate.
I couldn't work out how to raise my hand. Am I unmuted? Yeah, no, so I meant to get in touch with Godel. This is a story of my life, ages ago. Because I went on a retreat with Dave and Jen was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Intensive.
Yeah. Intensive with you guys.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Georgia was 15.
Yeah, so I went on an intensive with them. And I remember, so I was there for 4 days, and I remember the first 2 days I had a lot of noise in my head. I went with my daughter, and I had a lot of a lot of fixing, a lot of thinking. Just I look back now, and I wasn't really listening. I thought I was listening, but I was listening from from needing something. And I think it was probably day 3 that something shifted within me. And what shifted was that I no longer, I had a moment where I think I just got really curious, and I stopped needing anything. I just started listening from a different place. And I remember that Dave put on the video of Godel speaking in Africa. And often is the way, it's like we hear someone else's words, and it's like, words are just words, they don't mean anything until we ourselves give them a meaning, until we've, everything in life, it's like, until something, this is where it's an insight, because it comes from within ourselves. So I heard Godel speaking, and then the next day I went and sat in this I was in, where was it? It's in Kendal. I sat in this cafe in Kendal, and I had this profound, really profound insight. And it was from what Godel was saying, because Godel was sort of saying that he'd thought about going into the church, and talked about this, God that was outside of himself, this, this Catholic God. And I was kind of transported back in my mind to several occasions that I'd had, where I'd had this incredible feeling, this incredible feeling of power, of presence, of just, the word awesome, that feeling, that awesome feeling. And I remember really vividly standing in the sea in Wales in probably October or something. It was freezing cold, and I remember this feeling of just this awesomeness. And I remember thinking at the time, this was several years ago, I remember thinking at the time, oh, I wish I had faith, or I wish I was religious or something, because then I would, that God, because maybe this is God, maybe this is something, but I tried to, in my mind, I tried to think what it was. I rationalized it away. And so it's kind of just slipped away. it wasn't there anymore. It was just like I lost the feeling because I was in my mind thinking and thinking and trying to work it out. And, you know, that's for religious people. Ooh, lucky them. And then, so I remembered that time. But then when I was sitting in the cafe after hearing Godel speak, I just realized, I just went, that's not outside of me. That's me. That's me. That is in me. It's I was like, I started laughing. I started crying. I was like, oh my God, how did I not know this before? And I realized, I looked back on my life and I was like, I've had so many glimpses of this. I've had so many glimpses of this feeling. This is all down to, it's all, you know, we try and work stuff out with our heads, but it is a feeling in our, you know, and my sister, she sometimes gets annoyed. She's like, what is this knowing that you talk about? It's really annoying. And I'm like, but it's knowing is being. Knowing is your being. And there is no way to explain it other than this deep feeling, which is when we're not thinking, you know, when we're not in the, you know, when we suspend, you know, it's now, you know, when we suspend, because people, they have an idea of what now is. They're like, oh, well, I'm not happy with the now because I don't really like what is happening now. And it's like, that's not the now. Because actually, when we experience this feeling, it's when we suspend everything just for a moment. Like your worries about the future, you're thinking about the past, you're identifying with whatever thoughts that are coming your way, all of it. When you suspend it just for a moment, and you sort of just, you know, you just kind of drop your shoulders and you find yourself in this space where we get glimpses of this all the time, but then we don't recognize it. We don't recognize that it's ultimately it's us. This is who we are. And I never knew that until, you know, it's what Dave and Jen, you know, were pointing towards, but my mind was busy. And then they put this video on. And it's often, you never know what you're going to hear and what's going to resonate and when it's going to resonate and what you're going to remember, because we do get glimpses of this all the time, but we don't recognize it. And it's just when Godel said, I realized that God wasn't outside of me. God wasn't for, you know, Catholic people, or, you know, it's not that. It's this, you know, God, it's me. This is when I'm, you know, because I started to realize that I can have this feeling, you know, I might be in a museum looking at something amazing. I might be at a rock festival. I might be standing in the sea. And what is it all? Everything, you know, what is in common with this feeling is when I'm not thinking. It's when everything is just suspended for a moment, and then we think it's coming from the, you know, the festival we're at, or we think it's coming from the music, or we think we try and work it out, and then it's like, what if it's our being? And then when you start to trust this space, your space of being that never leaves you, it's like you start to live from that space, because you realize that, you know, it's always there. It's you trust that whatever is going on in your mind, there's always this, you know, as your mind quietens down, there's always this space beyond your mind, where in that space everything is okay. Even with the shit show going on in your life, in your reality, you know, it doesn't mean that, like Dave says, it's not an anesthetic to life, but you have a different relationship with life. You have a different relationship with fear. You have a different relationship with, you know, with all of it, because ultimately, when you're experiencing fear, when you're experiencing anxiety, you know, those feelings, they're incredibly real. They're incredibly uncomfortable sometimes, but they're always showing you. They're always your compass. They're always saying, you know, where are you? Where you're completely lost in the experience. You're not the experience you're having, because ultimately there is this space beyond your experience where you connect back with this sense of being. And from that sense of being, like Godel said, you know, miracles happen. You start to live, you know, it's like I think it was Einstein said, you either live as if nothing is a miracle, or you live as if everything is a miracle. And you start to live differently because you start to see everywhere, and you laugh. It's because stuff happens, and you just like, you know, it was a funny. I was thinking about that miracle the other day. Literally, I was writing, and I was thinking, I don't want to leave anything out. You know, maybe I'll. You know, I was thinking miracles, and I put this chapter miracles, and then this quote came up from Einstein about miracles. And I thought that's funny. And then I just went to make a cup of coffee, and I mean, this will sound a bit mad, but I was just like, okay, give me a song. I put the radio on. I went, give me a song, and I put the radio on, and it was the I Need a Miracle. Literally came out of my radio, and I just laughed because I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take all of it. But I never used to see life that way, you know. And it's not as if my life has changed, but I have changed.
That's
So
it.
I just wanted to say to Godel, thank you for your video that you put up there, because it, along with Dave and Jen, obviously, everything, yeah, from that moment, everything fell into place, and it just all made sense. And it was just like Godel said, you have this inner peace that you know that whatever happens in your life, you will deal with it. Doesn't mean that the stuff won't happen, it will, but you have everything you need. And it's not trying to be positive, and I'm not positive all the time. But I just know that it's all okay, whatever's going on in my world. It's you have everything you need, and it's
We have everything we need. I
yeah.
love that. Kate, thanks so much, love. I really appreciate you sharing that. And I do remember showing you that. It's sneaky. She won't listen to me. She might listen to Godel. No. And at some point, Kate, I'd love you to talk, not tonight, but at some point, we'd love you to talk about your experience moving forward after that. And we'll,
Yeah, because we used to do Kate's reflections, so we
yeah,
need to do some more of those.
we need to have further conversations. Godel, Kate, thank you so much for sharing that, love. Godel, you've got some plans, my friend.
Um, thank you, Dave. Um, yeah, man. You know, from the reality that is happening back home, I know most of you have heard of what is happening in Goma right now with the M23 and all the things, the carnage that is happening there. So I haven't connected with my family yet. The whole family, actually, they are not connected to the internet. So I hear that they are not. So Goma, the whole Goma actually. So they cannot access. They don't have access to water. They don't have access to internet. They don't have access to electricity since the rebels took control of the whole town. So you can imagine that the reality that made me leave my country, that the reality that made me leave Goma is happening even right now. I came to South Africa and today now in New Zealand. So, and as I said, in this life, we will always meet challenges, but we need to understand exactly that there is a call behind those challenges. And it's exactly what I also met in New Zealand. So I've arrived here and met my community. There is a community of refugees in New Zealand, the people that are coming from all over the world, from the Arabic world, there, and from Africa, from all these countries at all. And arriving here, these people are still seriously traumatized, but it's something that is not seen by the immigration. So the immigration service will do everything for you just to leave the country where you are, where you are experiencing all the the issue, the problems, the killing and all the things. They make you leave that country and go in a country of safety. And then when people arrive here, they come with all those trauma, all those trauma. So I met a couple of some couple, a couple of people that went through. So there was a war in Bukavu, for example, in the the southern part of Congo. So these couples, they were there, they were in Bukavu by then. And then when the rebels came, the rebels slept with the wife in front of the husband. The husband was there and children are there. And the rebels slept with the wife. And other couple, where they made the man to sleep with his own daughter and in front of the mother and the brothers and all it. They were there. And they were forced to be there and see everything that was happening. So these things are happening even now in Goma again. And these people coming there and having all these trauma, and when they arrive here, they become like a ticking bomb because the issues are there. I saw what happened with my wife. I saw what happened with my husband, with my own daughter. So the fight is there. So you live like enemies. People made you become enemies in the own family, in one family. So, and that is even here in New Zealand, living with those families that have been torn apart by the rebel. So there is serious trauma, brothers and sisters, into the community of refugees. Everyone is coming with his own trauma. So what I've done with this challenge was of creating an organization. So I had to create quickly an organization here in New Zealand, which is called ephatainitiatives. So we need to deal with mental health issues in this community of refugees. So, and the way that I'm saying, and that way I'm saying, okay, maybe I should also speak to freedom thinking to see how we can be of impact in these families of refugees in New Zealand. Because when people deal with these issues of mental health, they have been using the very same technique that probably do not work at all. And people will be coming back to the same problem, coming back. So we need to look at this differently. So we need to start trying to solve this problem differently. And the way I believe will be the way also of solving the problem of this world. So we need to start looking for the solutions within. We cannot keep looking for solutions outside of ourselves. So the solution will be of trying to connect people with themselves, being the solution for themselves. They need to connect with themselves. So we need to put people into a journey of going back to themselves. And then you understand exactly that they will definitely connect with who? They connect with God, because God is there within, He's waiting for them inside there. And that way they can experience really peace That way they can experience true freedom. That way they found the solution exactly that is needed for them and the solution for the world. So I spoke, and this is another opportunity actually to speak to you, Dave, Jen, and whoever here who can support this initiative, seeing how we can come together and be of impact to the community of refugees, starting where we are. I've started this organization. We need to start this kind of sessions with Dave, Jen, coming here, helping people with lessons, three principles, and see how that can be really of impact to this issue of mental health, for mental health. So we need to start somewhere, but then we need to go all over where the refugees are, because they are not only here in New Zealand, they are also there in UK, they are all over the world. So I do believe, as a refugee, I do believe that the solution to the issues are exactly within. We need to connect people with themselves. That's the solution that I believe. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
True. You know, there's so many kind of ideas running around about what empowerment is, fighting for this and fighting for that, and this rights and that rights. But what you're talking about, Godel, is true empowerment. True empowerment. And I love it. True empowerment is the way forward. So, yeah, Godel and Jen and I have had a bit of a conversation about this, and we are going to be looking to start fundraising to get out to New Zealand and to start setting up some systems that can hopefully be self-sustaining, including the all being well, including the local community as well, because the local community has to learn to understand the new people coming in, as much as the new people coming in have to learn to understand the local community. There has to be an integration. So we're looking to set up a system by which there can be integration of people meeting in a space where people can listen to one another, hear each other's concerns, and then we can also bring this conversation in to the people on both sides. I personally 100% with Godel, and anybody who discovers that aspect, like Kate was just describing, anybody who discovers that aspect within themselves that you may want to call God, you may want to call true self, it doesn't matter what you call it. The fact is it exists, and it has to exist. Otherwise you couldn't exist without it. There would be no existence without it. That is truly the only way that we are really going to move this world forward in a constructive way, is when people connect to themselves, stop blaming the other person. Stop trying to change the world outside of them. But like Godel is so beautifully, so wonderfully described in only the way Godel can, in Godel's way, changing here, you change your life. And the word that just kept coming to me, Godel, as you were speaking, is the word alchemist. Alchemists. We're alchemizing anyway. We're doing it anyway. It's what's up and running. It's the way it works. It's the system at play. It's what life is. You're an alchemist. Now, are we going to start to use our alchemy in a constructive way? Are we going to start to use it in a wise way? It's up and running anyway. It's doing it. So we're going to learn to take heed of the likes of Godel, and Godel, one of your gifts, as you so beautifully put it, is the fact that you're disabled. What a beautiful gift to be able to show people, those who are disabled and those who aren't disabled, like us, you carry clout. you carry clout. You carry, I don't know if that's a word you'd use in French. I know English isn't your first language, let alone Northern English. You carry credence. Credence?
Wait.
Yeah, you carry like it. Saying Godel carries weight's a bit rude, isn't it? You carry weight. You carry weight. And I don't know, I love you. I love everything that you've said tonight, my friend.
I loved it when Dave came off the call from you. It was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Me and Luce got to come and say hi, but she was not in the mood for going to bed that night, or for being quiet. But you came off and you'd kind of gone, I've been limiting myself of what's possible. And after speaking to you, like this feeling of like, oh, why have I done that?
Yeah.
And like this open, your heart just opens, like, yeah, anything's possible.
We'll do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that conversation really did something for you.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Really appreciated it. And Godel, we've got 10 minutes left. If you've still got 10 minutes left, does anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to share anything? We will be at a later date. We'll be doing another one of these and we'll be doing it as a fundraiser. But does anybody want to share anything with Godel, please? Any questions, reflections, observations? We've got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah, man. While waiting for the question, if it's coming, you've been talking about disability. Yeah, disability is yeah, man. Yeah, man. I found a lot of power into accepting that reality of disability actually, and it's something that I usually tell other people with disability, as even Michelle in South Africa. And there is a lot of power accepting that reality and just being grateful all the time for what is there, for who I've become. Thank you, God. Thank you. I'm in a wheelchair. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gratitude, gratitude. So, and gratitude, so for me, that is something that I can call a comprimé. Like as one day, there we are saying gratitude. It you use gratitude to elevate your state of consciousness. The more you are grateful, the more exactly you feel how the state of consciousness is just elevating. So, and that was the secret, man. If you see that, okay, go there in a wheelchair, and this is what exactly is from that power of gratitude for the person that have become sitting on that wheelchair. Gratitude is everything, man. Gratitude is everything.
I love it. I love you, man.
And I think also
We have
in
got,
what you just said is I love everything that you've said. It hasn't been you've had to try it. It's you had this shift in insight and
yeah,
then gratitude and open-heartedness, and it's just come to you. It's just as an implication of you seeing something.
yeah, yeah. They're not good ideas. They've become an integral part of your life, and I love that. I love that. We have got a question from Myra. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so the question is, how do you approach people so traumatized to help them? Is that correct? There's
Yeah.
how to approach
How
people.
do you approach
How
people so
read
traumatized
it
to
back.
help to be able to help them?
Say that again.
How do you approach people so traumatized to help them?
Okay, Godel, would you like to speak to that? How do you approach people so traumatized to help them? Now it makes sense. Sorry.
How do we approach people so traumatized? Help them. All right, so I've been to those trauma. I've lived those trauma, and I'm part of that community. I know, I know what is happening exactly. And I'm here. I'm talking to you right now. So people know. They know that something is not correct. That something has really changed in their lives. They are not the very same people. They know. My community exactly know. Because okay, let's for example talk uh, um, about the family that went through that experience of seeing the father doing the thing and the mother who went down with the rebel. So we talk to them. We go in that family as the leaders of the community. We go there. We speak to them. There is no other way of approaching those people. Just going to them and speak to them and see. And that's the way, for now, for example, the only way we help is that we go in those families. We speak to them. We see what we can do. Because you won't, you won't realize this and this and this if you don't go there, you sit with them. And then we see, oh, okay, we still have to help here again. And then we can also help here, can also help here. But you need to go to them and speak to them. Yeah. Otherwise, the society is there. As I said, that is a ticking bomb in the society. People don't know what is happening in that family. And then there are judgments from the host community thinking that the behavior of those people is not normal. They not behave normally, but they don't know what those families carry with them. But they are judged by the community surrounding them. So we need to go there. We need to help them. We go through these issues, but I need to accept that here's what it is, but what do I take out of this? All right? How can I be on a mission in a situation like this? So what we want to do here is exactly connecting people to their mission from the trauma that they went through. How do you find your mission from that situation of your trauma? And be happy. And be happy. Because if it happened to this family, why did it happen to this other family? It means there is something about this family. And then how do we help that family?
Nice, mate.
Yes, my brother. Why disability only happened to me? Why I had to go through all the problem of xenophobia in South Africa? Why? Why only me? You see? But someone helped me to connect exactly to my mission through all those pain that I went through. So we need those men, exactly, to come into lives of other people and help them to connect what they can do for this world. The world need them. They had to go through those trauma. They had to go through those trauma because the world need them. But we need people that can help them to discover that.
There's a
freedom thinking. Freedom thinking might be so because that's the organization that connected me to my mission. So yeah, so I leave it to you, man.
I love that, man. And I think just to expand a little bit on what you were saying, like how do we connect with people who are traumatized? There's this thing called love. And it's the most powerful force in the universe. It's the essence of all people and all things. And when we come from that space, it helps us to gain the trust of people who perhaps really struggle to trust. It allows us to gain access into parts that of people that perhaps at some point has shut it down in exchange for fear. There's an absolute certainty spoken from Godel's mouth because he found something. And when Godel found it, he knows it exists. Why does he want to go and help other people? Because he knows that if it's inside of him, it's inside of them. And all we have to do is guide people to its discovery. It's up to the individual who's listening. Nobody can make anybody hear anything. It's up to the individual. If the individual is ready, they will hear. But so many more people are ready than we could possibly comprehend. It's just love and connection and talking common sense. Godel, how can people get hold of you, mate? How can people reach out to you? Have you got an email address or anything like that? A website? Oh, you're muted, mate. You're muted. Still muted. Go.
I was seriously muted, man. So, so yeah. So yeah, we still building this organization, and it has an email address, and we also use my private email address as well. And I don't know where to put this here. Should I put in the comment?
If you put it
Chat?
in the chat, if you put it in
Chat?
the chat,
Okay.
what I'm going to do is this is going up on YouTube. I'm going to put it in the description underneath as well. So it'll be on YouTube as well. So if you type it into the chat, mate, I'll get it out later on and I'll put it in the YouTube. But if you type it in now, then people can see it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now,
Whilst Cordel's typing that in, I'll just say a few words. I think you'll all get a feel for why we asked Godel to come. Um, he's a beautiful ally of mankind. And if anybody is capable of supporting Godel in his mission and supporting the setup, please reach out. Please reach out. If anybody's watching and they want to help, please reach out. If you're watching this in New Zealand and you are interested and you'd like to meet Godel, reach out to Godel. He's a good man to be around. It's fun. Please reach out. Mike Godel is not a man who stands about resting on his laurels. somebody wants to reach out, he'll reach out. He'll meet you halfway. Force of nature. Okay.
Yeah, so I put the email, so which is Godel Sefu 8, the number 8 at gmail.com, or ephatainitiatives at gmail.com. And there is also a cell number, which is a WhatsApp
Perfect.
WhatsApp and cell number, which is there. So we connect anytime, anytime. And
Wonderful.
let's see what we can do into contributing to helping other people and contributing to making this world, our planet, a better place for all of us and the generation to come. So I'm really grateful in advance for everything.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Well, let's call it a night. Godel, let's call it a morning. And yeah, just send so much love to your family, man. So much love to you and yours. And thank you, everybody. Send so much love to everybody who's here. Thank you all for being here. This has been wonderful. A truly beautiful day again. We'll reconvene again 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon UK time. It's in the flyer. You all know anyway. So yeah, God bless everyone, and thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Godel and Jen and Dave and everyone.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dan. God bless.